It was late '69, the monsoon season, and I swear to God the rain that night felt like it was trying to drown the whole damn country. I can still hear it if I close my eyes. The constant drumming on the canopy, the metallic tap 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 on our helmets, and the way the water slid down the back of my neck, soaking everything, like the jungle itself wanted us to rot alive in our boots. We were a squad of 12 moving through the lowlands west of Pleiku. Orders were simple: recon patrol, make contact if we saw movement, radio in, and pull back. Nothing we hadn't done 100 times before. But that night, there was something wrong from the start. The air had weight to it, thicker than usual, like breathing through a wet rag. Even before anything happened, I felt my stomach knotting up, that crawling instinct a man gets when he's being watched. Sergeant Daniels was up front, the kind of man who chewed fear like tobacco and spat it out. He whispered, "Keep tight, boys." "Charlie's out here somewhere. I can smell him." We nodded, rifles tight in our hands, boots squelching in mud that swallowed your ankles whole. I remember glancing at Martinez, one of the younger guys, 19 at best, freckles still visible under the grime. His hands were shaking, not from the cold, but from the thought of an ambush waiting in the shadows. I gave him a pat on the shoulder. Small, quick, like maybe that would keep him steady. The jungle was black that night. Moon was gone, hidden behind fat storm clouds. The only light we had came from the occasional lightning strike, split-second snapshots of trees twisted like corpses, vines like snakes coiled around them. Each flash froze us in place, rifles raised, hearts pounding, waiting for shapes that weren't ours to appear. The smell, I'll never forget it. Wet earth, gun oil, sweat, and something else. Sweet and rotten, like fruit left too long in the sun. It clung to the rain, followed us no matter how far we went. I thought maybe it was a dead animal nearby, but it was everywhere, inescapable. Halfway through the march, radios started crackling. Just static. O'Connor, our comms guy, smacked the set with the palm of his hand, muttering, "Piece of shit. Always when you need it." Daniels told him to keep trying. But deep down, we all knew what that meant. If we hit trouble, we'd be on our own. The rain kept coming harder, sheets of it, pounding so loud we had to lean in just to hear each other whisper. At one point, Carter hissed, "Did you hear that?" We froze, rifles up, scanning. The jungle was a wall of sound, raindrops, croaking frogs, buzzing insects. But then, just faint beneath it all, something else, a whisper. Not words we could understand, not English, not Vietnamese, not even a language I recognized. Just low murmurs, like voices carried by the rain, slipping between the trees. "The wind," Daniel said, too quickly. His voice was steady, but his eyes weren't. We pushed on. The mud clung to us like it wanted to pull us under. Every step felt heavier, rifles slick in our hands. My stomach hadn't untied since we started, and now my throat was dry despite the rain pouring down. I could see it in the others too. The shifting eyes, the tighter grips, Martinez muttering a prayer under his breath. Lips trembling, then came the flare. It wasn't ours. A burst of pale green light shot up from the tree line ahead, hanging in the sky, dripping color over the jungle. For a moment everything was visible. Trees dripping wet, our squad hunched low, shadows stretching too long, too twisted. And in that light, just at the edge where the jungle thickened, I swear I saw shapes. Not men, not animals. Shapes that leaned and swayed like they were part of the trees, but watching. Always watching. The flare fizzled and darkness swallowed us whole again. "Charlie's ahead," Daniel said, though his voice cracked just enough for me to hear the doubt. Eyes open. Double time. We moved faster, squelching through muck, rifles up, nerves raw. My heart was pounding so loud I thought it might give us away. That smell grew stronger. Sickly sweet, rotting. Martinez gagged once and Daniels shot him a look sharp enough to cut steel. None of us spoke after that, just trudged on, deeper, further. As the jungle pressed in, hours felt like minutes, minutes like hours. Time didn't move right out there. The rain never let up, the whispers never really stopped, and somewhere deep in my chest I knew, whatever was in that jungle, it wasn't Charlie. The first real sign came just after midnight. We found tracks in the mud, not boots, not bare feet, bigger, wider, like someone or something had been dragging itself through the muck. The impression was deep, too deep for a man, and spread like the weight of a body pulled sideways. Daniels crouched over it, water streaming off his helmet. He didn't say a word, just stood back up, face pale beneath the grime. "Keep moving," he ordered, but softer now, almost a whisper, like raising his voice might attract whatever left those marks. We followed. The jungle seemed to swallow sound after that. The rain was still loud, but our footsteps, our breathing, it all felt muted, like we were wrapped in cotton. My ears rang, but not from gunfire, from silence. A silence that pressed against the inside of my skull until I wanted to scream just to break it. That was when Martinez stopped dead. He pointed ahead, hand trembling so bad it barely stayed straight. Through the curtain of rain, just for a second, we all saw it. A figure, tall, too tall, standing between two trees. The lightning flashed, and it was gone. No one spoke. Not even Daniels. We just kept moving faster now, panic in every step, though none of us admitted it out loud. By the time we set up a hasty perimeter, digging into the mud like animals just to feel a circle of safety, the rain hadn't let up. We huddled close, rifles pointed outward, eyes stinging from exhaustion. Daniels lit a cigarette under his poncho, the tiny glow a beacon in the black. "It's nothing," he said. "Jungle plays tricks. Don't think about it," but I was thinking about it. I still am. The way that figure stood motionless, like the trees themselves were holding it up. The way the whispers had started before we ever saw it. The smell, the tracks, the silence that didn't belong, and the worst part, the way none of us, not even Daniels, denied it was there. That was the night the rain wouldn't stop. The night I first realized the jungle wasn't just alive with bugs and birds and enemies hiding in the brush. It was alive in ways we weren't meant to understand, and that was only the beginning. Sleep didn't come that night. Not for me, not for any of us. We were huddled in that miserable little perimeter, ponchos pulled over helmets, rifles pressed to our chests like crucifixes, the rain still pounding so hard you couldn't hear your own thoughts. But beneath it all, beneath the rain, beneath the bugs, beneath the beating in my skull, I swear there were voices. At first I thought it was the guys, whispering across the mud. I pulled my poncho tighter, leaned closer to Martinez beside me. His eyes were wide open, staring into the black, lips moving. I thought he was praying again. But then I realized he wasn't making a sound. The voices weren't his. They were out there, slipping between the trees. Faint, low, almost like they came from the rain itself. Words I couldn't understand, strung together in a rhythm that felt wrong. Not Vietnamese, not English, not even something human. It was like the jungle had found a voice and was whispering straight into our ears. "Jesus Christ," Carter muttered. His knuckles were white around his M16. "Tell me you hear that. Tell me I'm not going nuts." I wanted to lie, to tell him it was just the wind, but I couldn't, because I heard it too. We all did. Daniels tried to shut it down. "It's your head playing tricks. This rain'll mess with your ears. Focus forward." But even his voice didn't carry the bite it usually did. He looked as shaken as the rest of us, cigarette dangling from his lip, smoke mixing with the mist until it looked like the jungle was breathing it back out. Hours dragged on. No ambush, no gunfire, just those whispers, rising and falling, sometimes close enough you swore they were right behind your ear, sometimes far off like they were echoing through the whole valley. I pressed my hands over my ears once, desperate for silence, but it didn't help. The voices weren't outside anymore. They were inside, crawling through the cracks of my skull. Then came the first scream. It wasn't ours. It tore through the jungle, high, shrill, and cut short like someone had clamped a hand over a man's mouth mid-howl. Every rifle went up at once, safeties clicking off, barrels tracking the dark. Martinez whispered, oh God," over and over like it might keep us safe. "Hold your fire," Daniels snapped, but even he sounded like he was begging himself more than us. Silence followed. Not even rain for a heartbeat. Then, just as sudden, the jungle roared alive again. Frogs croaked. Insects buzzed. Rain hammered the leaves, but none of it washed away the sound of that scream. It stayed with me, stuck in my teeth like grit. O'Connor fiddled with the radio again, hands shaking so bad he could barely hold the receiver. Nothing but static. He muttered something about the circuits being fried, but I knew it wasn't the machine. It was the place. Like the jungle itself wouldn't let us call out. We stayed put until dawn, too scared to move, too scared to sleep. Every so often another sound cut through the dark, a rustle where no man should be. A splash of mud like footsteps. That faint whisper rising and falling. Never words, never clear. Just enough to hollow out your guts. When the sky finally started to lighten, gray bleeding into black, we looked like corpses. Eyes bloodshot, uniforms clinging to us like second skin, fingers cramped around rifles. Daniels gave the order to pack up, but he didn't look at us when he said it. His eyes were fixed on the tree line, like he was daring it to move first. We started marching again, slow, every step sucking mud. No one spoke. Even Carter, who couldn't shut up most days, kept his mouth clamped shut. The whispers didn't stop with daylight. If anything, they got clearer, not louder, clearer. Like the rain had thinned just enough that you could almost make out words. Almost. Martinez kept looking over his shoulder, lips moving with the sound, like he was trying to repeat it, trying to understand. I grabbed his arm once, hissed, Don't listen." He just looked at me, eyes wild like he couldn't even hear me. By midday, the rain slowed to a steady drizzle, but the ground was a swamp. We trudged through it, packs heavier than ever, rifles slick in our hands. That rotten sweet smell was back, stronger now, wafting in waves until it made bile burn the back of my throat. We found something then, hung up in the trees. At first, I thought it was gear, maybe a pack, maybe a tarp. But when we got closer, I saw it wasn't canvas. It was skin, a body, stripped and gutted, strung up between two trees with vines twisted like rope. The rain washed over it, dripping down what was left of its face. The eyes were gone. The tongue, too. And carved across the chest, deep enough the muscle showed, were marks. Not letters, not numbers. Symbols. Curved, jagged, like nothing I'd ever seen. "Holy Mother of God," Carter whispered, gagging into the mud. Daniels froze. For the first time since I'd known him, the man had no order, no curse, nothing. Just silence. The whispers grew louder then. Not outside, inside. They filled my head, pressed against my skull until I thought it would split. I dropped to one knee, rifle clattering, palms digging into the mud just to feel something solid. Martinez was worse. He staggered forward, eyes locked on the hanging corpse, lips moving fast, repeating the rhythm of the whispers like he was chanting, "Snap him out of it!" Daniels barked, but his voice was distant, muffled. I grabbed Martinez, shook him hard. His eyes rolled back for a second, and then he collapsed in the mud, gasping like a man who'd been underwater too long. We left the body. We didn't touch it. Didn't radio it in. Couldn't if we tried. Daniels just muttered, "We move. Now." And no one argued. But the jungle didn't let us go easy. The farther we marched, the closer the whispers seemed. They weren't just background noise anymore. They were voices in our ears, voices that knew our names. I swear I heard my mother's voice once, soft and low, calling me home. Then it shifted into someone else. A friend I'd lost months earlier. Then someone I didn't know at all. It wasn't just me. I could see it in the others. Carter jerking his head like he'd heard something behind him. O'Connor swearing under his breath, clutching the useless radio like it might save him. Daniels chewing his cigarette to pulp. We were breaking. One whisper at a time. By nightfall, none of us wanted to stop, but we couldn't keep moving. Our legs were dead. Our packs felt like anchors. Daniels set a perimeter again, smaller this time, tighter. We sat in the muck, rifles in our laps, eyes on the dark. The whispers didn't wait this time. They came in strong, steady, rising with the night, louder, closer, clearer. And then, just as I thought I might finally crack, they stopped. The jungle went silent. No rain, no frogs, no insects, nothing. We sat there in that silence, every breath loud as a gunshot, every heartbeat pounding in our ears. Then from the trees ahead came a voice, not a whisper, not inside my head, a voice. Low, clear, speaking English. "You don't belong here." That's when I knew. Whatever was out there, it wasn't Charlie. It wasn't human at all. I've replayed that night 1,000 times, and every time I wonder if we should have fired right then and there, blasted the tree line to splinters. Maybe it would have scared whatever it was off. Maybe it would have killed us all faster. But in that silence, after that voice told us plain as day, "You don't belong here," not a man among us moved a muscle. The rain had stopped for the first time in 2 days. The air was thick, wet, buzzing with the kind of tension you get before a firefight, but heavier, like the whole jungle was holding its breath. I could hear the trickle of water dripping off the leaves, each drop echoing like it was too loud. I remember thinking, this ain't war anymore. This is something else. Daniels finally spoke, but he didn't raise his voice above a whisper. Eyes out. Don't shoot unless I say. None of us answered. I think we were afraid that if we opened our mouths, something else would answer back. The silence stretched on, thick and endless. Then, slowly, the sounds returned. Not the whispers this time, but movement. Branches snapping. Leaves rustling. Heavy, deliberate footsteps circling us in the dark. Contact? O'Connor hissed, white as chalk, his radio limp at his side. Hold, Daniels ordered, but his voice wasn't the same. It was tight, like a man trying to leash his own fear. I tightened my grip on my rifle until my knuckles hurt. My finger hovered over the trigger, itching, sweating. I'd fought NVA before, heard them move through brush, crawl on their bellies, set traps. This wasn't that. This was heavy, measured, too steady. Not like men sneaking, more like something that didn't need to hide. Then, lightning split the sky. For a second, the jungle lit up white, and I saw them. Figures, tall, too tall, moving between the trees. Their bodies bent in ways that made my stomach turn, like they weren't built with bones the way we were. Their eyes. God help me, I saw their eyes shine back at us. Pale and hollow, reflecting the lightning like an animal's but too high off the ground. Too human-shaped, and then darkness swallowed it all again. Did you see? Martinez started, but Daniels cut him off. Shut it. Everyone shut it, but we all saw. We just didn't want to admit it. The footsteps didn't fade. They closed in, circling tighter, pressing against the edges of our perimeter. My ears rang from the silence, from the weight of my own heartbeat. Somewhere to my left, Carter muttered, "This ain't right. This ain't right," over and over until Daniels hissed, "Stow it, soldier, or I'll—" And then it came. Not from the jungle. From above, a long, low moan, like wind through a cave, rolled over us. It vibrated in my chest, in my teeth, in the mud under my boots. Every hair on my body stood up. It wasn't human. It wasn't anything I've heard before or since. Martinez lost it. He fired. 1, 2, 3 bursts into the trees, the muzzle flashes strobing the jungle. For a split second, I saw one of those figures flinch, jerk back into the dark, but no sound followed. No cry, no body dropping. Just more movement, faster now, darting between trees. "Cease fire!" Daniels roared, but the damage was done. The jungle erupted, branches cracked, footsteps pounded. The circle closed fast. We opened up. Carter, O'Connor, me, everyone firing blind into the black, tracers lighting up sheets of rain still hanging in the air. The smell of gunpowder burned my throat. Hot brass clattered into the mud. The rifle's recoil rattled my arms. And over it all, those whispers came back. Not faint this time. Not distant, loud, clear, chanting, Martinez screamed. "They're inside my head!" Something moved through the perimeter then. Fast, too fast for my eyes. I swear I felt it brush past me, cold as ice despite the heat. Carter's rifle snapped upward, yanked like someone grabbed the barrel. He fought it, cursed, and then he was gone, dragged screaming into the trees. His voice cut short just like that first scream we'd heard the night before. We lit the jungle up, rifles blazing where he'd vanished, but nothing fell. Nothing bled. Just more movement, more whispers, louder, overlapping until it felt like 100 voices shouting inside my skull. Daniels was shouting orders, short bursts, clipped. "Left flank, hold! Keep tight!" But none of it mattered. The perimeter was broken. I turned, and in a flash of lightning I saw one of them, close. It was tall, hunched, its limbs too long, its hands hanging low like claws. The face, if you can call it that, was a pale smear, no mouth, no nose, just eyes. Empty, shining white, staring through me, not at me. I fired, point blank. The bullets tore through it, I know they hit, but the thing didn't fall. It staggered back like the bullets were nothing but rain. Then it melted into the dark again, gone before I could chamber another round. The rain came back then, hard and sudden, hammering down, washing the smoke and powder into muck. The jungle swallowed the movement, the whispers. Just like that, it was over. We were 6 men left, maybe 7. I can't even remember anymore. Carter was gone. So were 2 others. Pulled into the black, Daniels was heaving, mud streaked across his face, eyes wild. "Sound off!" he barked, but his voice cracked halfway through. We answered, broken, breathless. The gaps in our line said more than words. No bodies, no blood, just gone. We pulled back, stumbling through muck, rifles shaking in our hands. None of us spoke. What could we say? We hadn't fought men that night. Not NVA, not Viet Cong, not even animals. Something else had been in that jungle with us, circling, playing, pulling men away like they were nothing. By dawn, we stopped. Collapsed in a clearing, soaked, filthy, empty. Martinez sat rocking, whispering under his breath in that same strange rhythm, like he was still hearing them. Daniels tried to shake him, tried to slap him back, but Martinez's eyes were glass. He wasn't with us anymore. I remember looking at my rifle then, the mud caked into every seam, the barrel steaming faint in the morning heat. I'd emptied 2 full mags into that jungle. 2 full mags, and nothing to show for it. Not a single body. That was the night I stopped believing war was just men against men. Vietnam. It had other things living in it. Things we weren't meant to see, and they knew we didn't belong. We didn't talk about it as we moved. Not with words anyway. The jungle had stolen that from us. Every sound felt dangerous now, like even a whisper would draw those things back. So we marched in silence, mud sucking at our boots, packs digging into our spines, rifles clutched like they were the only thing keeping us tethered to the world. By then, we were down to 7. Carter was gone. Lewis too. And Johnson. I still hear his scream sometimes, short and sharp, cut off like a switch flipped. 3 men ripped out of the line without so much as a body left behind. It's a hell of a thing losing men that way. In battle, at least you can point to the dirt where they fell, press a helmet down, mark it, tell yourself their blood meant something. Out here, it was like they'd been swallowed whole. The morning light didn't help. You'd think after nights like that, dawn would feel like salvation, but not in that place. The fog clung to the ground like smoke after shelling, thick and low, curling between the trees. We could only see a few feet ahead. Everything else was swallowed up in that gray-white mist, and every shadow looked like it wanted to move. Daniels took point again. He wasn't barking orders anymore, just muttering, jaw tight, eyes darting side to side. The man who'd chewed fear and spat it out was gone. In his place was just another grunt trying not to lose his grip. Martinez was worse. He kept drifting, head twitching like he was listening to something we couldn't hear. His lips moved, repeating that rhythm we'd all heard in the whispers, over and over like a prayer or a curse. I tried shaking him once, told him, "Snap out of it, man. You're here. You're with us." He just stared through me, eyes hollow. Like the jungle had already claimed him, and the body was just marching on borrowed time. We stopped around midday, tried to set up a quick rest. My hands shook as I tore open an MRE. The beans and franks slid out, lukewarm and slimy, but I couldn't force more than a bite down. The smell of that rot, sweet and sick, was back again, stronger than ever. It clung to the air, to the food, to the rain-soaked fabric of my jacket. I gagged and shoved the pack away. That was when O'Connor said it. "We're not getting out." The words just dropped, flat and heavy, and none of us wanted to look at him because we knew he might be right. His radio was dead weight on his back now. Every time he fiddled with it, all we got was static. No, not static. That faint rhythm, that same chant. He hadn't touched it since. Daniels finally broke the silence. "We move east, hit the river, stick to the plan." But his voice didn't carry any faith. He was just saying the words because a leader's supposed to. We marched again. The fog grew thicker. At times I couldn't see the man 10 feet in front of me. My boots slid in the muck, the stench of rot burning my nose. Sweat mixed with rain until I didn't know what was mine and what belonged to the jungle. Then it happened again. The jungle went quiet. If you've never been in a place like that, you don't know what silence means. Out here, silence is wrong. The frogs stop, the birds stop, the insects stop. Like everything alive knows something's moving that shouldn't be. The fog thickened, pressing in like a wall. I blinked and Martinez was gone. 1 second he was in front of me, his back hunched, rifle dangling. Next second, nothing. Just fog, Martinez. I hissed. No answer. Daniels whipped around, but there was nothing to see. No struggle, no sound. Just gone, like he'd been plucked from the earth. "Move," Daniels ordered, panic bleeding through. "Don't stop." "Keep moving!" But none of us moved fast enough. Something shifted in the mist beside us. A shadow, tall, bent, moving wrong. I raised my rifle, finger trembling, but then another moved behind it. Then another. Figures sliding through the fog, circling, keeping pace. "Daniels," I whispered. "They're here," he knew. His jaw was clenched so tight I thought his teeth might snap. We tightened up, rifles aimed outward, forming a circle. The fog swirled around us, and every second a new shape seemed to flicker at the edge of sight. Too tall, too thin, faces that weren't faces. The whispers came back, louder now, clearer. They weren't outside anymore. They were inside our skulls, pressing, pulsing, growing louder until I thought my eardrums would burst. My mother's voice, my brother's laugh, a girl I once kissed behind a church when I was 17. Voices that weren't supposed to be here, blending into that chant. O'Connor dropped his rifle, clutched his head, screaming, "Get out of my head! Get out!" The fog swallowed him before we could grab him. One moment he was there, writhing in the mud. The next, gone. We were 5. Something snapped in Daniels then. He lifted his rifle, bellowed into the fog. "Come on, you sons of bitches! Show yourselves!" And opened fire. The muzzle flashes lit the mist, bursts of orange against gray. We all followed suit, firing blind, screaming, filling the fog with lead. The air stank of gunpowder, smoke burning our lungs, brass clattering like rain. But nothing fell. No cries. No bodies, just more movement. More whispers. The fog pressed tighter. Shapes moved faster, closer. I felt one brush past my arm, cold, slimy, like touching raw meat. I fired point blank, the barrel so hot it burned my hands, but the thing didn't fall. Daniels was still screaming, firing into the fog, when something yanked him off his feet. One moment he was standing, the next he was gone, his scream echoing into the mist until it cut short. And then, silence. The firing stopped. The fog settled. The jungle went still again. We were 4. I don't remember moving after that. My legs carried me somehow, stumbling forward, following the faint shape of the others. I just remember the weight in my chest, the taste of iron in my mouth, the ringing in my ears that wasn't from gunfire anymore. The jungle had closed its eyes on us, and inside that blind silence it was pulling us out one by one, like weeds in the mud. I told myself if I made it out, I'd never come back, but part of me knew then, I might not make it out at all. I don't remember how long we wandered after Daniels vanished into that fog. Hours, maybe days. Time didn't mean a thing anymore in that jungle. It stretched, twisted, broke apart like a rotted rope. We were down to 4 men, and I don't even remember the names of the others anymore, not for sure. That's the thing that eats at me the most. Faces I lived beside, bled beside, and now they're ghosts without names. The jungle wasn't just outside us anymore. It was inside. Every tree we passed looked the same. Every patch of mud stank of that same sweet rot. The whispers never stopped. Sometimes they were faint. Sometimes they were so loud they rattled my teeth, but they never left. I'd close my eyes, try to block it out, and there they'd be. My father's voice, dead 10 years, calling me home. The laughter of kids I grew up with. Women I'd never met, strangers. Voices overlapping, pulling. We tried to stay together, but men break different ways. One of us, Miller maybe, just laid down in the muck one morning. Said he couldn't move anymore. We pulled at him, screamed at him, but he wouldn't budge. He just stared into the fog with a smile that didn't belong on a man's face. Then something moved in the gray behind him, tall and crooked, and when we blinked, he was gone. No sound, no struggle, just gone. 3 left. I remember the hunger next. We hadn't eaten in days. MREs were soaked, ruined, but that wasn't what stopped us from eating. The smell did. That rot-sweet smell was everywhere. And when I tore open a pack of crackers, that same stench rolled out of it, thick and choking. It was like the jungle had gotten into the food, into the water, into us. I forced a bite once, gagged, spit it into the mud. My stomach cramped until I thought I'd vomit blood. The thirst was worse. Rain was everywhere, dripping down our helmets, pooling in our hands, but when I tried to drink, it tasted wrong. Metallic, sweet, rancid. I spit it out and went thirsty. Better the burn in my throat than that taste. The days bled together. No sun, no moon, just gray fog and black rain. My body ached, skin wrinkled raw, boots heavy with mud. The rifle on my shoulder was dead weight, but I couldn't put it down. It was all I had left to feel human. Then came the night I almost didn't make it. We had set up what passed for a perimeter. 3 men crouched in a shallow dip in the ground. I was on watch, eyes stinging, when the whispers grew louder again. Not in the distance. Not around us. Inside me. Clear, you don't belong here. I froze. It was the same voice from before, but now it was in my own head, bouncing around until I couldn't tell where it started. My finger tightened on the trigger, but there was nothing to aim at. Just fog. Then one of the others, can't remember his name, snapped. He stood, eyes wild, screaming into the dark. "You want me? Take me." Something answered. The fog parted, and I swear to God I saw them. Not shadows this time. Not shapes. Dozens of them, tall and crooked. Eyes glowing pale in the dark, all swaying, moving closer. I opened fire. The other guy opened fire too, until his scream cut short, swallowed up like the rest. I ran. I don't know how long I ran. Through mud, through roots, through vines that clawed at my face. My boots slipped, my pack tore, my helmet vanished somewhere behind me. I just ran until my lungs burned and my legs nearly gave out. When I finally collapsed, the fog was thinner. The whispers, quieter. I lay there in the mud, staring at the sky through a gap in the canopy. And for the first time in days, I saw stars. I cried. Don't care if you believe me. I cried like a goddamn child. When dawn broke, I followed the sound of running water. The jungle was still there, heavy and watching, but the fog thinned with every step. I came to a river, wide, rushing, and on the far bank, an American patrol. I tried to call out, but my voice was gone. Just a rasp. I stumbled into the water, half drowning, and they pulled me out like I was a sack of bones. They asked where my unit was. I couldn't answer. When they pressed me, I said, "Ambush." That was easier. "Ambush, radio gone, everyone scattered." They nodded, wrote it down. No one questioned it. Men disappeared all the time out there, but it wasn't Charlie. It wasn't NVA. It wasn't anything that bled like we did. I was the only one who came back. Years later, hell, it's been decades now, I still hear it. Some nights, when the rain pounds the roof just right, when the house goes quiet, when the memories crawl out of the dark, that whisper comes back. You don't belong here, and I know it's true. We didn't belong there. None of us did. Vietnam wasn't just a war. It wasn't just politics and jungles and men killing men. It was a place alive with things we weren't meant to see. They took my squad. One by one, and we never spoke of it again.